What is going on? Welcome back, everybody, to Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. That guy over there, four-time Stanley Cup champion. Four-time Stanley Cup champion. Darren McCarty in the house. Joik Bell is off today, but you know the rest of the squad is up in here. Squad deep, as I like to say. We got Fish in the bowl. We got Sawyer in the booth, ready to rock here on a Wednesday. Big D Energy. D-Mac, what's popping?
A little disappointed in the effort of the Red Wings last night. I wasn't the only one. Coach Blashill, that gave him a little bit of a tongue lashing. And we were talking about this a little bit before the show, and it's another step. It sort of gives you that old man smile, right? that sort of on the porch with the dog, watching the kids in the neighborhood. Yeah, because that's where it's at. And it gets me back to, is Jeff Blashill the right coach for these guys? Is he developing these guys? Hashtag wiser plan. And, you know, it's part of the ebbs and flows. I tweeted last night that about their road record, if anybody was confused, because it felt like they were playing on the road because they didn't come out to play. But it's disappointing because they put 5 games together. You want to see them play better, but they're going to have games like this. I think that the thing was they got a little bit they got pushed around. It was good to see my boy Giovanni Smith step up there, throw the Dukes a little bit. So I did a makeshift knuckle up. Some of the people on Twitter, if you want to check out Darren McCarty 4, mentioned a few things. But yeah, other than that, that was disappointing. Caught your game.
Yeah.
A very, very exciting down to the last second loss for your Oakland Grizzlies, but very entertaining game in itself, and you know the subtle tones on the call.
No, I appreciate you checking in with that. I was not able to catch up with the Red Wings game. I do get an alert every time there's a goal scored in the Wings game. So in commercial breaks of the Oakland game last night, I would cycle through, and I wasn't liking what I was seeing, but I did listen to the post game show on the way home from Ohio on the satellite radios, and the Blashill thing was intriguing to me, D-Mac, because that's a step to me. And for those of you that watched the show yesterday when I talked about Cade Cunningham and what he had to say to the media yesterday, and we put that clip out on our social media. You can follow me on Twitter. Our Twitter handles are on the screen right there. It for me was very much similar to the Cade Cunningham thing. Not because it was a play or anything like that, but because this is part of that process where you look at it's funny how much of a better coach Jeff Blashill is now when there's 2 Calder Cup finalists on deck and a little more talent and a $7 million defenseman in Nick Leddy and stuff like that. It's really different how much better of a coach he is. But I think he knows that, right? This is where the value comes in from being in Grand Rapids all those years with dealing with young players where you have to mold them. And yesterday, after that was the appropriate time for that because they had played well. They had a great run of games. But D-Mac, and I've always said it, and this is going to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, but this is what it is. Being around sports for as long as we have, you see this. When you have an 80-plus game schedule, you're going to get blown out 5 times at a minimum. You're going to blow people out 5 times. You're going to get blown out 5 times. That's just the way that it works. But with that being said, there's consequences to that. And Blashill let it be known.
No, there is, and I think that what you saw more is him recognizing that the lack of the 60-minute game over their 5-game win streak, like they didn't play the perfect game and they were finding ways to win, and it'll catch up to you. So the whole point that Jeff Blashill wants to make to his leadership group and to the younger guys is the consistency factor, right? So they're not going to get away. So what he's trying to do is nip this in the bud, right? So that they come out and we see this effort coming out with the first 10 minutes and, you know, going through, I mean, I don't know how many times, and I'm not even going to get into the commentary last night. We all know that it was taken away from our Bally Sports.
Oh, boy.
And given
It was an ESPN Plus. Oh, boy.
But I told everybody on Twitter, again, Darren McCarty 4, is that's when you turn the subtle, soothing tones of Kenny Cal on your radio device and you put the mute on and you watch the game. but it's progress, so they don't build this, so that this doesn't turn into a 2, 3, 4 game losing streak, right? So that's the awareness that the coaching staff has. I'm going to sit here all year long. We're 25 games in today, pucking around the bonus at the end. We're going to go through the 25 games and talk about where this team's at. You look at this team, and they're way ahead of schedule, but we got to also understand we're not a playoff team. We're rebuilding, right? We're going to have the ebbs and flows. Some days we're going to come here and go, this team's playoff. This team isn't. So if they can figure out this consistency, that's why the next game's always the biggest game in this 80-game season. So last night, it's one of those games. I see it in the Twitter. Tammy unfortunately wasn't there last night, and that's why they lost.
That's what we'll go with.
That's what
Tammy wasn't in the house.
Tammy Chin, it's your fault. No, but it's just all part of it. So again, how do they bounce back in the next game?
Jake Wegener on our YouTube chat thread. Remember, you get involved in the YouTube chat thread. Fire off your comments in there. I interact with you. You guys are taking the time out of your day to watch the show. The least I can do is involve your commentary and things like that. So, if you want to make fun of my wardrobe, Mike G says rule breaker going pink like an old episode of Miami Vice. And you know what? Last time I played golf down in Fort Lauderdale, this was the shirt I wore, as a matter of fact. So, I had the whole Miami look going on.
You did.
I like it.
Absolutely. Visor, everything.
But I stopped short of the visor. I should have had the visor.
You should have, because Oakland Grizzly visors rock. I got one in the repertoire.
Yeah. You have one. You have one in the tool bag as well. But again, and that is the thing too for me, where you get excited when you have a 5-game run of play like they had, but they still are 19 and 20, like the core of the team anyway.
Well, and injuries, right? You missed Gustav Lidstrom, and then Mark Stahl's out, the veteran, the dad of the defense crew. So they were off, but the fact is that the inconsistency, you said, comes to young age. Obviously, last night too. You're going to run into these issues. Morris Sider left the game, took a hard hit. It looked like he hit his head against the glass, so we'll wait to see what happens. But this is what happens in part of an 82-game season. There are going to be injuries, and it's next guy up. So we'll see. I'm really interested in on how they come out, because when you ask them, that was a stinker. And especially to do it at home with as well as they've been playing is something that they have to stop and correct right now.
And Jake Wegener says, trust the Iser plan. And I'll go back to it like this, D-Mac, because you know where I stand with it. You look at Lucas Raymond, you look at Mo Sider, $1.7 million a year for the next 3 to 4 years.
There it is right there. Right?
That's value.
And it is value. And then what else do they have coming up the pipe? And if this is the new way, we look at also, too, is that you look at salary cap, what's available. You look at draft, order, capital, stuff like this. This is Steve Yzerman's got a big, big bag of Santa's treats that he is just waiting to deliver to all us little winglets and all the wing-wheeled nation when he thinks it's time. December 25th is not Steve Yzerman Christmas. When is Steve Yzerman Christmas? I don't know. Usually in June sometime, I guess. Yeah,
as soon as free agency opens, that certainly will be an angle that he has. Rack says, tough loss for Oakland last night. Shot was there, got a finish. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. It was a heartbreaker in more ways than one. And we'll discuss. We got a little college basketball that we'll get to towards the end of the show. Michigan rolled last night over Nebraska. Good to see them bounce back, put up a hundo on Nebraska. Is Nebraska good at anything? Are they good at anything?
From what we're told?
Not what we're told.
No.
Are they good at anything? Are they good at anything? Nebraska.
Corn?
Corn? It's rough out there for Nebraska, man.
Well, it is, and you always go to their football team, to Scott Frost, too. How about that, right? Like, can I stop in this conversation? Remember the conversation beginning of the year, right? Who's done a worse job, Scott Frost or Jim Harbaugh? That was right there. Holy separation.
Scott Frost has ran away with that title.
Oh, my gosh. And drug the rest of Nebraska down with it. And I think you bring up a point, to what we were talking about, this Michigan basketball team, where I asked you yesterday, is this the sort of the state plan? You're playing, North Carolina is a tougher schedule at the beginning, and how do they bounce back? But, when you throw 100 up on a team, and no matter how good they are, that's playing some games. So I guess to your point, yeah, they showed me last night.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Tammy says, I still think Coach Blashill is a coach for right now. I think we have a coaching change coming eventually. What's your take on that? We got a couple minutes here. We're talking Red Wings. What's your take on that? Do you think that Blashill will get this team to a level, and then because this is what I've noticed with the NHL, and if I'm putting you on the spot, I apologize, D-Mac, but here's what I know. No, here's what I notice about the NHL, though. There seems
Nepotism?
to be well, you notice that.
Okay.
There is no doubt about that. Sometimes good coaches get blackballed. We've seen that in the past as well. Ted Nolan, et cetera, et cetera. But through all that, the NHL for me, D-Mac, seems to be coaches are certain level coaches where teams rise to a level and they bring in like the closer. And, we've seen it with different coaches that get different jobs at different points. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, the recyclability, right?
Yeah.
You look at Bruce Boudreau just went back to Vancouver or went there. Like, there's a recyclable where the people think that this guy, and if you've won, that carries a long way. Is Jeff Blashill the right guy? # wiser plan, which means that as we progress, if he's the right guy, it's almost like stages, Neil. Jeff Blashill's got to check the boxes like the players have to check the boxes if they're going to be here. And if he improves, and I believe he's going to grow with this team. Mm-hmm. I believe that you mentioned with his background and his pedigree coming from Grand Rapids, winning a Calder Cup there, developing the Bertuzzis and stuff like the younger group that is now his core. I don't think with progress like we've seen this year that he is not the right coach right now. Now, if we get to that next level, right, where we're knocking on the door, we're a perennial conference finals team and can't get over the hump, well, then I'm sure Steve Yzerman will address that situation. But I think that just like a lot of these players, just like your guys, Zadina, just like a lot of these other guys, Jeff Blashill mentions opportunity and ice time. You have to earn it. Well, he's going to earn his whether he continues to coach here. And right now, I think that what he's doing, there's no reason not to think he wouldn't be the coach moving in the future.
Austin, Lord Apollo 17 says Nashville was playing so dirty last night and ESPN hockey sucks. Look, I know the announcers are taking some grief. Tammy, the ESPN Plus is rough to watch. I had to turn on Ken Cal, which I get. Jake says I like the ESPN Plus just because I get to watch since I don't get Bally Sports. I just watch. I don't listen, though. And, we're showing some tweets up there on the screen. Having to watch national broadcast really makes me realize why everybody else on planet Earth hates hockey. Well, and it is. And I get what they're doing with it. I do. And you guys know me. Like, I'm in that profession. That's what I do. That's the majority of what I do. And, where I'm trying to be and call NBA games and NCAA tournaments and stuff like that. I don't crack on other announcers. I don't, because there's a reason they're there. Be it because they're good, be it because they have a good network of people around them, be it because they have good agents. However that works, I just don't comment on it. I don't.
Compete with yourself.
Yeah, I worry about me. I worry about the game I have to call. I'm weird like that. Like I just worry about the stuff inside my circle. With that being said, most of the reviews that I've heard have been negative, and I get that. But that's where my heart breaks for ESPN, because I think they do a good job as far as the graphics packages, the visual appeal to what they do, the surrounding support shows that they do. They're the best in the business at it. The In the Crease and all those shows. They're great shows, great graphics packages, good audio, all that kind of stuff. It hurts my heart to see, that the announcers get slammed the way they are. And look, it's apparent. Most people don't like it, and I get that. I understand that. I was so excited for ESPN Plus to get the hockey, D-Mac. I was.
But, why are you worried about who's announcing? If you're a hocky fan, which is what's
it's
great
part of D-Mac, and I'm self-serving here, but it plays a part of the experience, man.
Neil, the first year they're back, right? They have the broadcast. You can watch all the different games, right? You have the graphics. You have the understanding, okay? Maybe the fact that they'll work and they'll understand, because if we're hearing it and it's out there, somebody there is hearing it, and they'll work on that broadcast. I don't know if you know this or not, but I threw our names out there in case they wanted
I did
it.
see
but
that.
I told them that they're going to have to drop the bag. Because exactly. There it is. Drop the bag. We can work on something, but here's the thing. So as long as, because here's the one where I always think of, are we complaining too much? Because I remember when we didn't have it on ESPN Plus, or when we didn't have the accessibility, even on the NHL Network,
and no one
to
complained
get these games.
Because no one watched.
Right. So now people are watching and complaining, and maybe they'll fix that. I'm, not as worried. There's other ways to listen to the game. So
yeah. Well, hey, if you want the bag, you can win the bag at MyBookie. Why take a chance investing in stocks when you can double your money instantly at MyBookie? You can't predict when a hunch will pay off, but use our promo code Woodward at MyBookie. I'll guarantee you'll double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. That's right, $1,000. The best part is MyBookie accepts everything from credit cards to well-known cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Litecoin. So you can bet and withdraw in crypto if that's the way you want to roll. This Saturday, UFC is closing out 2021 with a bang. 2 world title fights going down at UFC 269. Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier. That's going to be a good one, man. Poirier throws those hands. This fight amounts to a coin flip, but both men have finish rates over 75%, so it's not going to go the distance. I think that is safe to say. You want to bet on the Heisman this weekend? Do that too. You like Aiden Hutchinson at 22-1, 25-1, whatever he is? Go ahead, take a spin. Why not? Don't miss out. Double your first deposit up to $1,000 using the promo code Woodward. Head to MyBookie today. Place your bets and watch the sparks fly with UFC 269. I'm going to get you right this weekend too, so you can jump in on that. Fish is excited about it. Don't worry. Just because college football's done doesn't mean I'm not going to get you right. And as soon as I get you right, go to MyBookie and get it in. Bet on anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Have a gambling problem? Call the Gambling Problem Helpline, 1-800-270-7117.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
Of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Off and running here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty in the house. Joy Bell out today. Mike G says, Neil on the play-by-play, D-Mac on the color, the left-wing lock of broadcasting. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it. And there's a reason. I figured out a conspiracy theory.
What's that?
Right? Well, I mean, I'm partners with the what is it? The Metro Detroit or the
Our Detroit Magazine?
Detroit Magazine. Yeah, I love the pictures in that book.
It's a great magazine.
It's a great
man.
magazine, but I realize there might be a conspiracy theory of threatening, because that's why you don't do hockey. So we might have to do hockey to see if you can continue stack it up.
Yeah,
stack it up.
No,
stats.
the hockey guys are great, man. Ken Daniels, by the way, comes through the Oakland games every now and then. It's always good to see Ken Daniels when he rolls through. Yeah, Our Detroit Magazine. The Best of Detroit voting's opened up. I'm just saying.
I like it.
There's a sportscaster category. And I would never come on here and shill for votes. I would never do that.
Vote for New Rule.
I'm just saying. Two-time winner.
Two-time?
Two-time.
Back-to-back?
Back-to-back.
Back-to-back.
The last two.
Wow.
Our Detroit Best Sportscaster in Detroit Award. I'm just saying.
We got things in common. We like to do things back to back.
Yeah, that is the case. But I wouldn't come on here and shill for votes because I'm not like that.
Not at all. Where do you vote?
Go to ourdetroit.com.
Okay, just in case.
If you wanted to vote.
Fish,
I'm not telling you to
Fish,
go
what
vote.
do you do? Quit working. Start getting in there and putting those votes in for Neal.
No, I would never shill for votes. But someone who got some votes actually did want to shift the discussion to the Lions. They're putting their one-game win streak on the line. One of the biggest games in the National Football League this weekend as they roll into Denver for what is a spotlight game for the National Football League. The red-hot Detroit Lions rolling in.
That's the real reason why they got the 4 o'clock spot. They didn't get it because they're in Denver. They got it because it's primetime viewing.
That is the case.
The best game.
No, it is. And speaking of that, by the way, the pregame show for Woodward Sports will be rolling as well. We'll be at O'Toole's in Royal Oak, presented by Jose Cuervo. I will be out there with Braylon Edwards. Adam will be out there. I'll be the nice guy in that group.
Wow.
Adam's going to be there. Braylon will be there. Looking forward to working with those guys and my girl Jade from WRIF as well. And we'll host it on Woodward Sports and 101.1 WRIF. The post-game Stick and Anson will be out there. If they win, can we get Stick in here to confirm? If they win, will he be popping bottles again? Do you think?
I think that was it. That was one and done.
That was one and done?
You can't be popping it. You can't afford that. Then they're going to go on a streak. We're going to be in the playoffs. Next thing, Fish will be running up and down, face painted, up down Woodward. Put a leash on them. I mean, it's just chaos, Neal. Chaos.
Yeah. No, that certainly will be the case, though. Stick and Anson will be out at the Brass Rail, one of my favorite spots downtown. They'll start streaming at the 2-minute warning of every game. They'll get the reaction, the crowd interactions as well. There'll be DJs, drinks, a Woodward VIP section with food and more. Make sure you stop by after every Lions game at the Brass Rail in Detroit. That's brought to you by Jim Beam and Woodward Sports. So, again, shifting the focus to the Lions. They're putting that longest winning streak they've had in a year on the line against the Denver Broncos. And there was a little bit of news that came out of Lions camp. Actually, Jared Goff was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. 296 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, passer rating at 97.2. And who'd have thunk that you would ever see that in the NFL?
Well, absolutely not this year the way things were going. But, again, he got it done. And props to him because, at the end of the day, those are pretty good stats. I think that's more of the consistency that I was looking at the beginning of the year, maybe the top end, but the bottom end just hasn't been good enough. So, again, he's got something to prove. Can he go out and do it back-to-back? I know he's going to altitude. I know he's going to Denver. They're 8-point underdog. But, here's the one thing. Every time that you hear Jared Goff speak or whatever like this, it's sort of who he is, right? It never seems to be sort of going to be.
He's a vet. He's a vet.
But he's a vet. And here's the one thing is what really stood out to me is at the end of the game is that the fact quarterback and coach, they embraced the reaction. He was asked about it, and it was just sort of not, sort of on purpose. It just was sort of there, and you could tell how hard they're working together to get that, and how much they wanted that for whatever reason, right? So I think that if he wants to change the narrative of what we think of him here, that he's not the guy, and we don't think he's going to guy, but he can go out there and continue to play well. You don't expect him to have those numbers every week. And usually when you do have those numbers, you don't win Player of the Week. You know what I'm saying? That's sort of like
it was a down week.
We talk about the Heisman this week. this year.
We talk about college football. It was a down year for college football at the quarterback spot.
It
was a down week in the NFL for quarterback play.
When you usually look at that in the fantasy, that's usually your 5, 6, 7 best quarterback of the week, right? Usually the guy winning has got 300 yards, 3-4 touchdowns, 112. But we'll take it when we can.
No,
we ain't got to
absolutely.
complain. That trophy goes right up on the mantle.
No, it does. Easy, Woodward Sports, he jumped in the YouTube chat. Easy's thirsty to go to the Sun Bowl, by the way. I don't know if you caught Terry Foster's Sun Bowl story on Monday when he was in for you guys. He portrayed the Sun Bowl as a wild time for the media.
That was in the late 1900s. I mean, things have changed. Easy. I mean,
Easy is thirsty to go to the Sun Bowl.
But I just said Sun Bowl, Arizona, Scottsdale. Yeah, of course. I mean,
He's
I got
thirsty
Super
to
Bowl
go.
stories from back in the late 1900s.
Late 1900s. No, but the Lions in Denver, as we said it. And look, they did get the win. And a lot of people will talk about the fact that the win maybe bailed Dan Campbell out of a couple of questionable play calls. And a lot's been discussed about the 4th and 1 play call. I remember watching the play going, what is going on with that play call? But Dan Campbell did address it with the media. Our own Corey Woods was out there. And I'm curious to hear this. So, sorry, if we could run that, Dan Campbell addressing the media after that 4th and 1 play call.
Yeah, that's a good question. And honestly, it's funny because when I go back to it, if I could have a play over in that game, it wouldn't have been the 4th and 1, it'd been the 3rd and 2 right before it. That's the one I regret, because I wish that I had given a better play to Jamal Williams there, and we wouldn't even have been sitting in a 4th and 1. So as far as the 4th and 1, look, did I love it? No. However, if we can be so much better, on how we should have done that play. I mean, just, the little details to it. We would have outflanked the defense. So we just a couple of little things there procedurally in the way that we needed to function on that play, and it would have been there. So it didn't work out. But more than anything, I regret the 3rd and 2 call that put us into that.
Do you want to hear that from your head coach, or does that go to the inexperience a little bit more of indecision, right? Because, again, I go back to where do coaches learn the clock or the management? And it's not, to me, and hearing everything, it's not so much that he went for it. It's the indecision of how to go for it. And when it's pointed out to me that you're going to go play action with nobody in the backfield, 4th and 1, I look at teams that, who would you trust in that spot, right? Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick, right? And so I guess to hear his going back to the 3rd down is sort of still to the indecision. Because if there's confidence in coaches, they usually have the 2 plays picked out. If we don't do this, and there's more assertion. It's just when they go to make these plays, it's almost like they're going to go do it, and it's almost like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Hey, we're going to do it. Here we go, right? Instead of just going bang, bang, bang and doing it. So I'll be continuing to look. What I'm looking for is their improvements in the coaching. And the coaching didn't win them that game, right? The execution of their 12 plays in a minute and
a 4th-round draft pick made a play. Jared Goff made a play.
Well, he made a play. And how about out of the backfield, the converted safety on 3rd and 10 early in the drive? Not Ozarike, whatever. But the guys made the plays. They got the job done, right? Still, I wouldn't give Dan Campbell a passing grade on his coaching.
And that's the thing, too. And he didn't really talk about the 4th and 1 play call. Because for me, the only time I want to see the ball in Jared Goff's hands in a 4th and 1 situation is if they're ducking a sneak in there. Because literally, the line to gain was so short that what other play is there to call, really, when you think about it? Where I'm giving it to Jamal Williams. If I'm running the ball, I'm giving it to Jamal Williams or I'm quarterback sneaking it. And I'm saying in the huddle, who we running behind? It's 4th down, man. We need a 1st down. But see, that's where it comes back to me, where you put the onus on the players and say, what are we doing here? You tell me. Who wants this? You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
I would assume you want that, right, D-Mac? When there's a penalty in the 1998 Stanley Cup Finals and you guys are shorthanded, there's a penalty to kill.
Oh, we want that smoke. We want that smoke to and then we're going to come off and look at the star guys and go, there, we got you the opportunity.
Yeah.
Now go out and capitalize, right? And that's the yin and the yang and the appreciation, right? So I think it's the indecision. I think Igwabuke, thank you. But it's the indecision, right? And I guess the lack of confidence. Right, because that's the whole thing, right? If we hear kneecap bite no matter what coming out of training camp, and then it's sparse, to say the least, and but again, that's why you're a 1-10 and 1 team, and that's some improvement to be made. So hopefully we can sit here 1 week and go, hey, did you see that call that Campbell made? Like he learned from that call last week or 2 years ago or whatever else.
And then we could all go to the Fulling Warehouse together and get down and have a good time. Home of the original football bowling pin game called Foaling right there in Hamtramck. So if you're going out to downtown Detroit for a night on the town, you can slide on through the Foaling Warehouse, get things started the right way. You can host a corporate party, team building event, come in with family and friends. Woodward Sports, we had a Christmas party down there at the Foaling Warehouse. You can do the unlimited open play. You can reserve private lanes for up to 10 people. There's over 100 beers available. A $2 mystery beer vending machine. Sawyer got his hands on that, came out with a PBR.
Yes.
Quality.
A Colt 45 was out there in play as well. You're going to tell me, you look me in the eye, Sawyer, and tell me a $2 mystery beer vending machine that produces a PBR and a Colt 45. Tell me that's not tremendous value.
Oh, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
It's quality. And for Christmas, they have a $2 naughty or $4 nice in the mystery machine. So you could really up the game if you wanted to.
It's up to you, whatever
yeah.
you're comfortable with, man.
Yeah, me and D-Mac were feeling naughty, so we went with the $2 and got the PBR. It was great.
See, there you have it. Guys, come on. Tell me how that's not a good time to go down to the... You don't even have to fold. You can just go to the mystery beer vending machine and do mystery beer vending machine roulette.
Yeah.
That's a night on the town in and of itself. I got to get out there with Sawyer and just do that. If you were hungry, you can bring food in there with you. You can have it delivered there as well. Fold it, guys. If you haven't done it yet, talk to some of your friends because they have. You got to get down to the Foaling Warehouse. It's becoming a staple of Detroit. Get your foal on. Check it out at foalingwarehouse.com.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. Did you know mortgage rates are still at generational lows? If you haven't refinanced your home loan yet, there's still time. Now is your second chance to refinance. You could lower your monthly payment, eliminate credit card debt, or even take cash out by using your home's equity. Call Hall Financial now to get started with your free 5-minute mortgage review. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
On and popping here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty. Fish is in the bowl. Sawyer is in the production booth having a good time. Joik is out for today. Appreciate everybody checking in. If you're checking in on the radio, 93.5, The Roar, Detroit's newest sports station. Thanks for tapping in there, 99.1 FM and 94.7 HD2 as well. Don't forget about the podcast page. You can subscribe to the Big D Energy Podcast. We pop the latest episode on there every single day. Get an alert on your phone. Away you go. If you're lazy like me, that's perfect. You don't even have to do anything. We're hand delivering it to you. And we appreciate everybody that's tapping in. Hello to everybody in the YouTube chat, social media. Send us a tweet. However you want to get involved,
Hey,
get
Fish,
involved.
throw a boop out there for the people so see if it moves the like button.
Boop. There you have it. There you have it.
Smash it.
As my kids YouTubers say, smash that like button on the YouTube channel. Tammy Chin says, I love the Brass Rail. I try to have dinner there before I go to the Wings game. They support you, so I support them. That's awesome, Tammy. Thank you very much. Plus, I think it's the coolest spot down there. And whether or not they support the station, it's a cool spot to go to. That's usually one of my staples when I go downtown.
Where?
The Brass Rail. Where we do the post
Those
game.
tater tots are money in the bank.
The food
best.
there is low-key really good, man.
Low-key solid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually, on the Gypsy and soda when I go down there.
It's all good, but you need that,
Well, it's distilled with corn, so it has everything you need to live in the vodka.
Everything
you need to live is right there.
Speaking of the, you know what, I don't drink anymore, but I take sort of offense to this. Is our buddy Robert, the lawyer's $14 PBR tall boy in San Diego.
What?
Yeah, that really
What
reinforces.
is it? $12 for the sun and $2 for the beer. 14.
That's absurd. Hey, that's San Diego,
isn't that
though, man.
illegal?
No, you can charge whatever you want if somebody's willing to pay for it.
That's got to be for the
That's
weather.
what I like to call the climate tax.
The climate tax.
Yeah.
Wow, that's even more than the cannabis stuff.
you get the climate tax going on there.
Blasphemy.
Dom Rivera says, we got our win. Now we need to lose. 1-800 stay out of the end zone. And you guys know me. You know where I stand. And I know it was said down here, and Don Burr said, lose why? To get the number 1 pick in a draft where there isn't a quarterback to take, and it's a debate on if it's Hutchinson or Thibodeau or even number 1 guys. Come on, win if we can. No. You're not going to make the playoffs. I know you're mathematically alive, but you're not going to make the playoffs. So stopping at that line right there, this is becoming an old bit for me, but maybe Don hasn't heard me say this before, so Don, I'll say it to you. The most valuable asset you can have as an organization, if you can't go to the playoffs, is the number 1 pick. I didn't make it that way. That's just the way that it is. And whether it's you have to decide between Thibodeau and Hutchinson, well, then you believe in your people that make those decisions. So you want to have that access. You want to be able to make that choice. If you want to trade it, you can trade it. It's the most valuable asset the Lions can obtain this season. Period. The Super Bowl trophy, a playoff appearance, or the number 1 pick. That's it. Those are the prizes.
Yeah, that's where it's at right now. And then you build on your draft capital, and you go back to what we've been talking about, is that Brad Holmes has hit on his draft picks because they've shown themselves in a uniform. That's different than years past. I had to get a shout out to our girl, Jen Reed. She just joined in from GR. She wanted to say, nice to see you got your Mean Girls blouse on today there, Neil. So, but that's where we're at. And I guess my whole thing is I went down there. I gave everything that I had to get that win because they needed it to feel good. Now, it's more important that they lose, get that first overall pick, but you see progress, right? We got to agree that this defense, coming off of what we had last year and whatever, Aaron Glenn, he's going to be a coach in this league someday. He's got those guys playing hard, and they got to bend but don't break. You look at different guys that are stepping up and playing, some of the the rookie guys, the Derek Barnes, the Rosarique, different guys like that. So there is some sunshine, right? We are moving there. We just don't need to move too quick.
Yeah, and that certainly are some of the things that are involved with it. Don says the number 1 pick is worth what, though? That's the question. Who's begging to trade up for defensive end this year? It's still worth more than the number 2 pick. I mean, that's just straight math. It has more value. I just want the most valuable tool that I can give the most valuable person in this organization. People get caught up in Jared Goff and the quarterback situation and Dan Campbell coaching. We're a ways away from that being a difference. Brad Holmes is the most important piece to the Lions organization right now. He is. Because, again, the only way through for this team to really change the face of it is the NFL draft. It's the only way. And right now, they have pick number 1, 23, and 33. Three of the first 33.
But here's the thing, Neil. When we sit here right now, right, going into last year's draft, having new guys, not knowing, just going by track record, to coming into this year's draft, Fish, let me hear it. Right? We know track record of what Brad Holmes has under the Lions regime. So this should give you confidence. So this is more important to give him more ammo. You get that first pick, dude. That's putting the missile in the RPG right there.
Yeah.
Instead of having a grenade launcher. Yeah, second, third, they're great. But again, look who has the power. So then, if Brad Holmes goes, oh, okay, somebody wants to trade down. Oh, let's see if it's in our best interest. Oh, we're looking at this guy. The same reason that we look into the past and go, this wasn't successful, this didn't work, you got to give him, right? Forget the coach, separate on the field, off the field, with the front office, and Brad Holmes deserves, we got to give him all the assets that we can, right? All the assets that we can, whether it's salary cap, whether it's draft capital, and then go, okay, do your magic. And then it's another level. We're talking about levels with the Wings, what we saw Coach Blashill, getting on their butts because they're expected more because they're next level. Well, Lions aren't there, but they still need to start leveling up, small and sure. And this is part of it.
And that's where, for me, the Amon-Ra St. Brown play was so big. And is he like the next? No, I don't know that to be the case. I mean, is he going to be a perennial All-Pro? I don't know. I think All-Pro is maybe a bit strong, but I don't know. All I know is the guy was, on the field. He was baseline. He was on the field. in the fourth quarter of a
He
game.
had 10 catches.
He had 10 catches in the game. Caught a game-winning touchdown pass.
First touchdown of his career.
First touchdown of his career. He was available. He was, like, there. They didn't draft him and say, wow, this guy really stinks.
Or drafted him and said, oh, man, this guy's got unbelievable talent if he can just stay healthy.
Yeah. You know, he was there.
This kid has done it to the whatever size or not being expected, 4th-round pick, coming out. He's a baller. Every really good team, in my opinion, has to have that possession receiver, the guy that you can count on, the guy who's got sticky hands because he doesn't drop a ball, doesn't turn it over. And so, again, you're looking for progress, and that's a rookie. So there you go, right? There you go. We're talking about how the Red Wings have sped up their process because of the rookie play. Well, maybe we got to sit back and say we might not have the talent, but are we going to have the talent because our rookies are playing?
Yeah, and we're kind of having a back and forth, I guess, with Don. He says, man, nobody's moving up in this draft with the laughing emoji. Then let's baseline it then, Don. Explain to me how the number 1 pick is not more valuable than the number 2 pick. Explain the math to me, please. I'll wait. Go ahead and fire. Explain to me how it's not more valuable. Give me the case. Give me your reasons, because I gave you mine. And I'm not saying somebody's gonna move up in the draft. I'm saying Brad Holmes is my weapon, and it's so far so good. I know they're 1-10-1, but look at the roster situation. More importantly, look at the cap situation he's dealing with. That's why D-Mac's little meter goes the 2023 meter, where we're going to 34 games through this. Now we're 12 in. We're past a third of the way through. Brad Holmes is our weapon. The same way Aaron Rodgers is the Packers' weapon, Brad Holmes is the MVP of the Lions, the most valuable player, because this is the only way that it can get done. And the early returns are good. They are. This is Steve Yzerman-esque. I know this is going to be blasphemy, and this is going to blow people's mind when I say that. They're going to say, Neal, you're over here wanting them to lose and things like that. That's different. I want the number 1 draft pick. I want my most valuable player to be put in a position to succeed, and that's Brad Holmes. What do you got, Fish?
We have mini breaking news, and I say mini breaking news because not many people care about this, but the New York Rangers have become the hockey's first $2 billion team.
Valued at $2 billion.
The Red Wings, by the way, are at $990 million.
Really?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 9th.
9th most valuable franchise.
In NHL.
And then now, Fish, look up what's the value of Madison Square Garden. And then you subtract that, and you find out that they're worth about $1 billion.
Yeah, and all the New York teams are going to be that way, Fish. Did Maz text you that?
No, it was...
you found that on your own?
Yes, I found it on my own. Maz did not text me that. Maz doesn't like the Rangers, so I figured that he wouldn't. That's the only New York team he doesn't like, which I don't understand that, but... He likes the Devils, Islanders, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Yankees, Mets, just not the Rangers.
Yeah. No, hey, I get it. It's a New York thing, and that's why with the Rangers.
Bro.
Yeah.
And the Cosmos.
Bro.
Sorry, what do you got?
Oh, I was just going to say a little breaking news coming out of Jen Reed in the chat. Mo Sider was skating this morning. So it's a little scare last night, but it's looking good.
But it's all good?
That's always good.
And I'll tell you this, too.
If it was my head, we'd be fine. That's what my always says, as long as your head, you're good.
We've been talking about Brad Holmes in the draft. This Mo Sider pick, in terms of discount to market, that defenseman, those defensemen, Dima, you should have been a defenseman.
I can't skate backwards.
Those defensemen, though, those top-tier defensemen, those are essentially, if they're not the quarterbacks of the NHL, they're the left tackles.
You have the ability and the possibility with Joel Edvinsson, the kid you drafted this year, that's playing in Sweden, to have 10, 15-year stalwart of big, mobile type defenseman. The future's so bright. You mentioned the fact, Neal, that I'm not going to get angry at you comparing Brad Holmes to Steve Yzerman, because those are the two guys. And here's the thing now, right, where we don't talk about Steve Yzerman being the most valuable player or person in the Red Wing organization.
'Cause
Now
they're
it's
further down
sifted
the highway.
down the highway, right? So if we look back a couple years when Stevie came in, because of where the Lions have been, because of where they're at, you got to give Brad Holmes a little bit more time just to establish his baseline. So I don't mind that analogy at all, because if we keep going, oh, he's this, because I know what Stevie's going to do. I think I know what Brad Holmes is going to do from what he's done.
Yeah, and that's where it is with me. And guys, look, we're looking to stuff the studio here at Woodward Sports. We're collecting toys for the Mott's Children Hospital all next week. You can help us as well. We donated over $70,000 in toys to the Mott Children's Hospital in Ann Arbor last year, making it the largest donation in Mott history. This year, we're doing it again. We're teaming up with Myre, one of our great partners, to power our supporters to stuff our studio full of toys, drop off a toy anytime next week from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. at the Woodward Sports Studio. We're down here at 34915 Woodward Avenue in Birmingham, right in the heart of Birmingham, next to the Lady Jane's that is downtown. If you're a local business, you come drop something off, we'll give you a shout out on the air as well. You can also donate online at woodwardsports.com. Help us stuff this studio. We're trying to make Christmas good for everybody, at least everybody that we can, and we'd love to have your help in doing it. Second annual Stuff a Studio here for Woodward Sports.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Pulling up on the second hour of the show. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Joik Bell is out. Fish in the bowl. Sawyer in the booth. We're squad deep up in here. Mike says, can Neal give us the draft capital look one more time? All right, give him the sounder.
With your first overall pick,
oh my!
Detroit Lions.
It's so soothing.
It is.
It is. It's so soothing because I know it's going to be all right.
We're used to it. It's like, it's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas. It's sort of like that.
Everywhere you go.
That's it, Fish.
Tammy, I missed the cutoff date for the Stuff the Studio. What is the last day to drop off items? That will go up until next Friday, I believe.
13 to 17th.
13 to the 17th. All week next week, Tammy. So whatever you can do, certainly we appreciate that. And, we're talking a little bit of Lions right now. Pete Smith says, if you ever want to feel some feelings, go to Mott's Children's Hospital. I used to work there in college. It took a toll on my soul. So, Pete, that's real talk right there, especially when you have kids. I've always said this, and DMAC has heard me say this before, like, I always feel like I owe, because they're healthy. They're healthy. I feel like I owe for that. So anything I can do, certainly that's what I want to do. AC says, let's say this rebuild fails. Are you done with the Lions? Will it break you? And I go back. AC, look.
Yeah, this is going to do it.
This will be the one that breaks me.
Let's see. You been through anything resilient in your life, Neal? This one is going to crack me.
No, it's for me, AC, it always goes back to what Joik Bell said after that field goal by the Ravens hit off the crossbar and popped up and went through the longest field goal ever in NFL history. Of course, it beat the Lions at the end. And I said to Joik, at that time, if you're a player, how can you go on? Like, how can you take this? How much of this can you take? And he looked at me and he goes, you can take 17 weeks worth. And he just moved on. Like, that was such a cold, you know what I'm saying? But
it was. It's a good thing that field goal wasn't for the NFL record.
Yeah.
Right?
It was.
Okay.
No, but and I've said this before on the air, like that emboldened me to the whole 34-game movement. You got the graphic, right? So the DMAC 34-game movement graphic where we're just kind of plugging our way through this, as far as it goes. And that's what really lined me up to the point where I wanted to set my feet in the ground and say, I can take 2 years of this. I could take 2 years of it to get us where we want to go. And, where we want to go is we want to be through 34 games. That's what it is. And nothing.
We're getting there.
We are. We're getting there. There is. And it's moving quick. As I said, everyone thought, man, game 1 of 34, this is never going to end. We're 12 in, man. We're more than a third of the way through.
It is, and it's one of those things. It's like it reminds me of, when people cross the Atlantic, they had to do it in ships, and that probably seemed like a long time too. So, but it goes quicker, and all you want is progress. And to your point, we always stay back. It's the draft, it's your capital, your second round picks, got to hit on them. The thing is, we've had first round picks in the past. I understand that, Vince, but not chosen by this regime. That's the one thing, is that the coach and the GM go together. So the coach is struggling right now. He's out there. He's falling down. He's getting back up. He's learning how to skate, right? The GM's the one that's played the game, the one that's been in the game, the one that's given the stability and allowing the coach to go out there and sort of learn. I look at this and I hope that in the long run, right, this benefits Dan Campbell and the Lions, because he'll look back and say, oh, wow, remember those first 34? It's 2023. Remember those first 2 seasons? Remember this game? Remember that game? I learned from that. What you're saying, what I'm saying, what we're saying here on Big D Energy, Neil, is the fact that until that 34 games is up, right, we're gonna go with the flow. We're gonna have our opinions.
I'm gonna let people do their job,
and we're gonna
let proven people do their job,
right?
Proven
in different
people.
spots, right? So if this makes you feel any better, as incapable as you think your head coach is, I think capability-wise, your GM is on the opposite spectrum, and that's where this team needs to be now. That has to flip, but not for a few years. Once the talent is here, because this guy Brad Holmes seems like he knows talent.
Yeah, the early returns are that he does. And a lot of people are asking about, that number 1 pick. Joey 2 times says Todd McShay has Aiden Hutchinson number 1. Somebody else asked me earlier, is Aiden Hutchinson the pick at number 1? Whatever Brad Holmes says is the pick. That's what I'm there for, because that's where the scouting department, the breakdown and everything like that, and they'll take everything into account. Is Hutchinson at his ceiling now? Does Thibodeau have higher to go? I don't know. I'm not paid to do that job.
Here's the thing, right? I'll sit here and hashtag eyes are playing all day long and everything with what I know, but I mean, it's in the same, if we're going to talk in the same context, we almost have to hashtag Holmes. Hashtag Holmes 2023, right? That's where it is, because that's when we're going to really get a real test. Next year, you'll get more of a test on these rookie guys moving into their second years. Are they going to be something into the future? So for a 1-10-1 team, we got the most exciting one, right? We got the most exciting one.
Well, the one with the most draft capital.
And that's what you want when you have a guy making the decisions that you feel is capable. Right?
Right.
It's not Rod Wood. It's not Sheila. Right? It's not even Spielman. Right? It's Brad Holmes, who is known for what? Finding people in the draft, especially later.
Especially not in the first round.
Right.
Exactly. It's something that the Lions... Mike said my face when I do that looks like when you walk into the mall and smell the almonds. Those almonds do hit different at the mall.
They hit different.
They do hit different at the mall. My guy Juice's Ghost. Asking someone if you can handle this is like asking a prison inmate with a life sentence if he can handle 2 more years of probation.
right.
He said, I've been dealing with this for 30 years.
Well, that's what
2
I'm
more
saying.
years
We
ain't
all
blank.
got, this ain't going to break. It's just when it is. And I get it, Vince. Vince is like, this GM, this coaching staff. But you know what? What has this GM and this coaching staff, they go hand in hand. Right, so right now let's focus on the GM. Right,
Yeah.
Let's not focus on, because there's a lot of mistakes being made. Where we can't make mistakes is in the draft, and you got to try. All your trust has to be: do you trust Brad Holmes the most, out of anybody in that organization? And your answer's got to be yes. And if it is yes, then there's progress to be made. If it's no, then you're just the same old Lions fan.
AC says, Neil, do you think K9 will be a great fit for Baltimore? I mean, yeah, those two seem to be similar molds that they would step into. It's just for me, like, does Baltimore value the running back position with a first-round pick? Because I think if you go across the board, most of them will say no. And as great as Kenneth Walker's been, that's just where the market is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's great. Once you get out of college, things change. When you start getting into the pros, when you start getting into draftability, things change. D-Mac, the guy sitting to the left of me, is a prime example of that. A lot of you that are hardcore fans of this know this. Dude was a 50-plus goal scorer in the OHL.
55.
Yeah, 50-plus, yeah. 50-plus goal, 55 goal scorer.
50. Malt said, he had a great year.
Yeah, Maltby had 50 goals.
Yeah.
D-Mac had 55 goals in the OHL. Probably the best developmental league in the world, I would say.
At that time.
At that time, yeah. I'm saying, though, in sports. In terms of talent.
For NHL,
in all
sports.
sports.
Right.
That's a powerful statement. I know that. But I was there. Like, I used to go to all those games when the Ambassadors had a team. I went to more OHL games than I did NHL games.
I used to love playing in the States because that's where you get all the chew. Take it back.
Of course. No, but I mean, but see, that's how much things change, though, D-Mac. You can speak to that. Where when you step out of the minors, you step out of college, now it's the real world. And for Kenneth Walker, he's going to have to be valued as such a commodity.
Well, it's sort of valued, and to your point, why would they ask for Baltimore? Baltimore, legit, with John Harbaugh running team, somebody who, they're looking more of a run-first mentality with Lamar Jackson, obviously being able to use him as an option and stuff like this. So I think it's finding your spot, like finding where you fit in to that team aspect. And sometimes the team you get drafted to, how many times do we hear that? Getting drafted to the right situation, being coached properly, right? Obviously, some guy seeing you. Here's the beauty in every sport, Neil, right? If you have that first-round moniker on your back, somebody's always going to give you the opportunity because they feel they can get something out of you. Right? It's the ones that are later on. It's the Jerry Jacobs, the undrafted free agents. It's the guys that don't get that look but get that one opportunity that have to take advantage. And if you don't know what your strengths are, right? And again, too, is that you would hope that a Kenneth Walker got drafted to a team like a Baltimore or a Denver or somebody that puts the run essentially first, right? But again, that's how things play out. It'll be interesting. He'll be an interesting guy because of the year that he's had and what we've seen here and what he can do, because that would be an asset somewhere else. Maybe he'd be an asset here with the Lions, the way that he runs. But it's all to coaching, it's all to GMs, and it's all to – they have this big plan, We have this idea as fans. I know in Steve Heisman's office, there's a big blackboard with names all over it, whatever, guys you haven't heard of, guys you've heard of. And he's got his way of, these guys are from Europe and these guys are this and this in the system. So every GM has its way. It's just, I know Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are first-time guys, but right now the GM's proven that he's capable. So you got to give, when you have a capable GM, you have no other alternative. So at least be happy with that.
Joey Two Times says, I've been highly critical of Holmes, but even I have to admit it was a good draft class in general. The rookies are making a difference. None look like busts right away. You got to hand it to him. And look, for Holmes, there's only one thing that I was critical of, and I didn't see it at first. And actually, one of our listeners pointed it out to me, which goes to show you how complex all these things are. I was critical of stretching Goff's contract that extra year. But as somebody brought up, and I apologize, I don't remember who it was, they almost were forced to do that because of cap implications this year. So it was something where you stretched out that contract another year to lower that number this year, and that's where you are. And in the end, it doesn't matter because 2023 is a target. Right. Next year doesn't matter, too. Trey Flowers like a $22 million cap hit next year, guys. He's going to be on this roster. That's just the way it is. He walked in. It's like Transformers, man. There was more than meets the eye of what Brad Holmes was walking into with the Lions this year. But I know what I'm walking into when I want a vodka and soda. I want the vodka that took exploring 50 different formulas, hosting countless taste tests. But we believe Gypsy Vodka is the best tasting smooth. smoothest vodka on the market. It's gluten-free, corn distilled 6 times using artesian spring water. That tells you right there, corn distilled. Everything you need, to have a healthy diet's right in there. I mix it up with some club soda, a couple limes, because I'm high maintenance. So I do need a couple limes in there with my Gypsy and soda, but I still do it nonetheless. Support local guys from right here in the state of Michigan. Gypsy vodka out of Petoskey. It's Michigan's gluten-free vodka. Try a bottle today. Ask for it by name. Gypsy vodka. As always, remember, guys, come on, be an adult. Drink responsibly.
It's that time of the year again. Time for our second annual Stuff a Studio with Woodward Sports. Last year, Metro Detroit came together to help make the largest single toy donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. This year, we make it even bigger. Stuff a Studio is happening December 13th through the 17th at the Woodward Sports Studios in Birmingham. The children in Mott Children's Hospital fight so hard all year. Now it's up to all of us to help bring a smile to their faces. So while you're out holiday shopping, make sure you pick up an extra toy or two and help us spread some love to Metro Detroit this season. We look forward to seeing you December 13th through the 17th as we stuff our studio with Woodward Sports and Myre.
Woodward Sports Network, let's go! Ho, 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 ho.
Pulling up on that second hour of the show, Neil Rule, D-Mac in the house, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate everybody tapping in, as Joik Bell likes to say. He is out today, fishing the bowl. Sawyer in that production booth on our YouTube chat thread. Steve Brown said, I read that they will save $10 million on the cap if they cut Flowers. They do have an out next year. It will cost you, in the savings of $10 million, that's salary versus cap hit. So, I mean, you would save $10 million in terms of having him here. If they did cut him, it'd be almost a $13 million cap hit for next year. But that goes into my analogy of those are the lumps you have to take because it's time to move on from Trey Flowers. Did seem like a nice enough guy, good guy in the community, all that kind of stuff. On the football field, which is what I'm concerned about, doesn't seem to be working out.
But here's the thing. When you bring that up, it seems that there's a plan in place. And more so that our plan is 2023. I showed the 34 games, 2 seasons, but it seems more that we're reading the tea leaves to what Brad Holmes is sort of seeing himself. A lot of times is that you got to figure out what you have, what you don't have, but it's eliminating a lot of some of the bad contracts, some of the different ways. You mentioned Goff's contracts, how to redo it so that it saved money in the long run. These are the little things that the capologists and all the things with the salary cap that need to know. And as long as Brad Holmes knows it, I don't need to know it. So it's good.
Yeah. So again, that Trey Flowers, he's still signed through 2023, and some pretty big salary numbers on that. But they do have an out this year, cost them $13 million cap hit. I'm of the opinion you take it and you move on. You take your lumps, man, because that's what you walked into. So people talk about the Charles Grimmett says the Trinity Benson trade was the only boo-boo. We were cap strong with Goff, but the draft is what we got. One more cap hit year, exactly. And look, he took a spin on the Trinity Benson thing. The risk was low. What was it, a 5th-round pick or something like that, a 6th-round pick?
5th, yeah.
Yeah. Who else was it? The receiver they brought in from Tampa, Perriman. Hey, it's a $2 million gamble. It was short-term. Didn't work out. Cut him the check. He moves on. No further penalties. So
you're going to do it. It was sometimes guys aren't going to fit. You can't hit with everybody.
You notice a theme, too, with the positions on these controlled gambles.
Every Monday. There's guys in there. You look at Riley Patterson, the kicker that we had, who knows? Could be the kicker for years to come, or it could be the kicker for next week. Maybe that's it. But every Monday, it seems like guys are coming in. And the best part being 1-10-1, you should have the opportunity to maybe see a diamond in the rough or get an opportunity to get a Jerry Jacobs and stuff like this, who's balled out this year as unrestricted. That's where the caveat is, because even more to your draft capital and hitting on your next draft picks and the second rounders and stuff, unrestricted free agents, you nailed that down as far as the money that it saves to get one of these guys.
Yeah, and Joey says the free agents are my biggest criticism of Holmes. And guys, remember, these were controlled gambles he was taking. And I know what they have to say when they get in front of the microphone. I know what Dan Campbell has to say. I know what Brad Holmes has to say, that they'll explore all facets. I'm of the opinion they are not interested in the unrestricted free agent market.
Not yet.
They are not interested in long-term deals. Nothing is going to fix this year or next year.
That's why when we say hashtag 2023, when we say the 2 seasons, what I see right now is the maneuverability where pieces are moving and stuff like this. That's
and
why
we talked about this
That's
yesterday.
why the number 1 pick's so important, because of outside view. It's like, why do you not sign Chase Daniels the day before the draft when you pick 3rd overall? Because then you let people know you're not taking a quarterback. It's the same thing here. So you want the capital, so at least people on the outside are going, well, Detroit's got this and that and this. I wonder
they
if
could literally do anything.
They can do anything. Now, in 2023, coming up on that season, Neil, I can guarantee that we're going to look and we're going to go, okay, what do you think about this guy for this or whatever? Is the money there, right? Oh, but they need this position. Oh, but I'd spend the money on that. And doing the things that we were doing with the Tigers about Correa, right? Before signing Baez and Rodriguez and different things like that. So when is the conversation? And it's playing out, and we're giving you the reasons behind why we think, watch my clock, 2023 hashtag, because I think that's what's going on there too.
Perriman, the parade of kickers, Brocker's contract. Holmes has made plenty of bonehead moves, but the draft was darn good. And again, you have to go back to it, because we talked about this yesterday where Joy got upset with me. That's why they didn't sign Matt Prater. If this were 2 years from now and they're knocking on the door for the playoffs, then hell yeah, you're going to go sign Matt Prater. But there's no point to spend $4 million on a kicker, because the quote-unquote parade of kickers is still $2 million cheaper.
So what did Arizona do? Where does Arizona think they are? They're a Matt Prater.
Take a look at the standings and see.
Matt Prater away, going into it to spend that money.
Yeah.
That's when you want it. You want to have that cap and that space to go, we need him, and we need him, and let's go.
Yeah, and as far as it goes with the Perriman thing and the Benson thing, he took a spin at the roulette wheel. He grabbed a lottery ticket. He put the money on the table. It busted. They took the money. That was it. There was no further obligation. There was no. I mean, the downside is the money, obviously, but that's money that's gone now, and you don't have to worry about it, and you're not stuck with a contract. So they'll never say it, but they were never a factor. They were never interested in the Matt Praters or a big price free agent. Never interested, because it was never going to help.
No, and here's a great point by Charles Grimmett about Reynolds, Josh Reynolds, steal Holmes' most underrated move, and I like that because you're right. Cheaper, but also too, have you seen a little bit of a difference, Jared Goff, where he's more comfortable with the guy that he's played with before? I can see some of the throws he's make. So that's the confidence that's what you're looking for. You're looking for culture. You're looking for guys that can elevate each other, and sometimes familiarity. Look for the familiarity, because I think that Reynolds being in there has helped Goff air yards down the field a little bit more than a yard and a half.
No question about that. So I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where, I like the moves. I do. Even the control gambles on the wide receivers that some people have been critical of, because the other option was never really an option. The high price free agent or make a big splash or make a big move, that was never on the table. It was never going to be on the table. Guess what? It's not going to be on the table next year either, because of the Trey Flowers situation, because of all that. Guys, we're stuck, man. We're stuck. 34 games. And we're 12 through that 34 games. 2023, guys, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's more or less just enjoy it. So we're a third of the way in. For the next 2/3, just enjoy it like it's shuffling chairs on the Titanic. Right? I mean, it's like moving it around and see how we're going to piece it, because when these 2 years are up, then the expectations, in my opinion, start. Right? And these real conversations, because really, Neil, unless you're going to have conversations about bringing in an elite player in any sport, right? That's when you're on the cusp of championships. You don't really do that unless it's too good to be true, something like that. You look at it in any sport when the big guys move around. So hopefully, because the supporting cast is put there, whether it's a quarterback, a wide receiver, the run, whatever it is. But we see, it makes sense. Plug and play. We're just missing this type of guy.
Robert Closia says, now Perriman's headed to the Sun Bowl to hang out with Terry Foster. Well, good for Perriman then, I guess, because that sounds like it was a hell of a time. And I'll tell you what, D-Mac, in that hotel room, you probably would want to turn up the air conditioning if you walked in. And if the air conditioning ever went out in that room, they'd be in a world of trouble.
Well, they would unless they had T. Foss. And because I heard a rumor, you too could moonlight with Northwestern Tech. That way, when you're out in Arizona covering the Sun Bowl and your hotel room AC goes out, you'll know what to do because you could start a new career in an industry that is always essential, the heating and cooling industry. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu. He's the Golden Rule, Neal Rule, D-Mac, Woodward Sports Network. Big D Energy. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. One mortgage myth we hear all the time is having to choose between a 15 or a 30-year fixed term. At Hall Financial, we offer the modern mortgage to create a flexible term that fits your unique financial situation. Our team of mortgage experts are available 7 days a week to review your goals and customize a solution for you. Get started today with a free 5-minute mortgage review at 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Woodward Sports. This part of the show today, watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
On and poppin', Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Fish in the Bowl, Sawyer in the booth. Joik Bell is out today. Fish just told me Tiger Woods, some breaking Tiger Woods news. He has committed to play in that father-son tournament that they do. And you know what's funny? He gave that press conference at the Hero Challenge or whatever and talked about, the game's nowhere near. I can't hit the ball as far. I think he was doing the old under-promise, over-deliver thing.
Yeah, and how good's Charlie's game, his son, right now? I think when they played a few years ago.
That was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. You see him out there, not bad, and Lashley's cool as his old man. So, but you know how it is, Neal. That it's a start. I'm just happy that he's out there to be able to play with his son, to be able to be back out there. It doesn't matter to me if he ever competes again. I'm just happy he's still alive. So and he knows that's the biggest thing, right? From a couple guys up here that know about changing things and facing things head on. Yeah, Tiger Woods has done things that he's probably not proud of in the past, but moving forward, it's a different person, right? And I think he's more true to himself, and the fact that I'm not worried about him pushing for the wrong reasons or getting caught up. He's going to get out there because he feels good and he enjoys it to be with his son. Now, I'm sure Charlie might, knowing if he's cut from the same cloth, the kid's probably chirping the old man about being soft. So we'll see. Well, no, I mean, like I can see it. I can see it, right? And because it's the competition, because you never lose that, right? You never lose that.
No, you don't. Some news coming out of the Michigan football program. Before I get into that, though, I do want to point out a really cool thing that Michigan has done with their jerseys from the Big Ten Championship. They're auctioning off the Oxford High School tribute jersey patches and donating all the proceeds to the affected community, and that will pull some big-time dollars, auctioning off those jerseys. I can only imagine what Aiden Hutchinson's jersey will go for, or Cade McNamara, Haskins, et cetera, et cetera. Those jerseys are going to pull in some bucks, and that's really, really cool that they're doing that.
Yeah, it is. And obviously, anytime you're trying to make something good out of something that's bad. So hats off to the Wolverines.
Michigan offensive coordinator Josh Gaddis wins the Broyles Award as well, being recognized as the top coordinator in college football. And you know what's funny is, for me, with him, he did do a 180 with that offense. And we had talked about halfway through the season. This was something I got on this microphone and was very critical of, just the way that the passing game had failed to develop, and it was just smash the ball into the pile against Northern Illinois and Western Michigan and Washington, just pound them into submission and win football games. They led the country in plays of 50 yards or more. I was stunned when I heard that stat. That is a crazy stat, but I think that if we're going to go by the eyeball test or think back to the evolution
the way that Michigan's offense has evolved, right from the quarterback, Cade McNamara, what do we always say? Takes care of the ball. Well, you know what? He's thrown a pick the last few games, but the thing is the offense has gotten better, and they've got contributions from everybody. Look at Edwards throwing a touchdown pass.
Guys, I know everyone loves Hassan Haskins and Corum, but I'm telling you guys, Donovan Edwards, man.
Did I not, when he threw that touchdown pass and took that hit in the pocket, and I always send you out there. Isn't that your guy?
Yeah.
And that's your guy. But what I'm saying is that not only the team bought in, but you see, because we've seen in the past, right, what Gaddis has done. And there's been sort of this team that has bought in, but he's also, too, it seems like he's let McNamara and let the offense go a little bit more. You can't have that many plays over 50 because I know they're not all runs, right? But that goes to show this Michigan offense is maybe better than the nation thinks, and maybe has a better chance than the 8.5-point underdog they are going to play Georgia on New Year's Eve.
No, I would absolutely get behind that. I mean, you give me Michigan with 8.5. They're going to struggle to run the ball the way that's the one thing I don't think people realize. Like, it's going to look different if they do it, because they're not just going to line up and run over Georgia. They're not. They are gonna have to have an ability to throw the football, but they've shown that as of late.
Right, and I think what they've shown in the thing that I've liked with Blake Corum is the way that they've sort of used Haskins as a primary, but because of health or whatever, but out of the backfield. And I think when you got Haskins and you got Corum and you got Edwards out of the backfield, they're going to play big into the game plan, and if you can get the aggressiveness of the defensive line and linebackers of Georgia by dumping those passes off, these are guys that have proven that they can hit the big play. So I think that Michigan has a great chance to win this game.
No, they do. Some other news as well. Jim Harbaugh was nominated for the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year award, so he is a finalist for that award. So that is up for grabs for him. A lot of coaches obviously in on that. Luke Fickell from Cincinnati certainly won. Billy Napier for Louisiana had a good year, and I know that's down in the South, so that's maybe off a lot of people's radar. But he had such a good year that Florida hired him to be the coach at Florida in the SEC. Florida, and they're in some trouble right now. And Billy Napier will be on the scene. Nick Saban up for that award as well. Kirby Smart, Mel Tucker, Kyle Whittingham. The usual suspects are all up for that award. And again, this isn't just looking at it. For me, that's a Luke Fickell thing, because he did something that's never been done in the history of college football and put a Group of 5 team in the playoff.
There you go.
I mean, I'm
Enough
sorry.
Said, do you have a vote?
I do not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's not going to win.
No.
But it's a great point. History.
Yeah. So, obviously the who's who in terms of college football coaching. So, a lot of that being taken care of for Michigan. And I'll get to this now because I'm hearing a lot of people say this. The Big Ten, and I'll put the question out there to you guys, and those of you in the YouTube chat thread, social media, or whatever, you want to send a tweet, feel free to do that as well. And I've heard this talked about in Detroit media circles over the last couple days. Do they have to take a look at how the Big Ten's structured? And the discussion is, the Big Ten East versus Big Ten West in the championship game, and just the dominance that Ohio, certainly led by Ohio State.
What is this, Michigan? Is this led by Michigan because they're good enough that they don't want to have to face Ohio State?
Well, I don't know the reasons. I don't know the reasons.
Do they need to be realigned because that they're so lopsided?
That's the discussion, because you go back through the history of the Big Ten championship game and just how lopsided it's been. And games like what Michigan did to Iowa this week in the Big Ten championship game, that's what we've seen. So the whole East-West narrative and everything that has happened with it. Are you guys there with that? Would you like to see the Big Ten realigned? Because for me, it is funny though, and it is convenient that all of a sudden this gets talked about now that Michigan got into the mix now. I don't think that there's a quote-unquote division problem with the Big Ten. I think there's an Ohio State problem. because they've run roughshod over it. Michigan State's popped up in one. Now Michigan's popped up in one. But for the most part, that's been Ohio State's playground.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you put them the East or West or whatever else. Like, at the end of the day, because geographically, alignment or something, is it one of these, Neil, that just, hey, you want to play better, be better, get better players? Or do you think that it would help, I guess, in the reason why you would consider it is on a bigger scale if it helps the Big Ten nationally, if it helps the Big Ten in the 4 playoff teams.
See, I think it helps the Big Ten more now the way it is, because if your best team is in the East, which is typically Ohio State, if your best team's in the East, then you get a layup going in to the playoff. You're in no danger in your Big Ten championship game. That's what you want. No one will ever talk about it like this, but that's how you want it. Because, again, that Michigan-Iowa game, make no mistake, that was a $15 million game for the conference. If Michigan didn't win, the Big Ten Conference would have missed out on about $15 million. And more, because the Tetris Bowl, like when you get that, I always hold out for that big long block in Tetris to get the line. Sawyer probably knows what I'm talking about, man. You stack the whole thing, you're waiting for the big long one, you turn it on its side and drop it in there, and you get the Tetris, and like four blocks come. The Big Ten Bowl structure, it would have cost them even more money than just missing out on the playoff, because there would have been a Tetris effect, because now Michigan goes to the Rose Bowl, so Ohio State can't go to the Rose Bowl, so Ohio State drops a bowl, Citrus Bowl drops a bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like they go down like that, which means you miss out on that money incrementally. So you were talking about a $15-20 million hit to the Big Ten if Michigan didn't win that game. That's what it is. So if I'm the Big Ten, I like it the way it is.
So the way that it is, it sounds like it protects the Big Ten's money, right? Over the whole scheme of things, especially going to the Final Four, going to the big games and stuff, and it doesn't, like your Tetris analogy, it keeps I guess the representative, right? So to me right now, the Big Ten, and I know it's been Ohio State and Michigan State, Michigan, but those are the big 3 representatives that make the money for the rest of the conference.
Right.
So those the little guys or the rest of them are happy with just making that money. You know what I'm saying? So they don't want to be better. Right? They don't strive to be better, or they can't be better, or they're caught in. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I guess it makes sense. I guess I'd be interested to see how the realignment would look, and if that would be a major consideration. Now, here's the thing, right? If they went to 8 or 12 playoff teams, right, would splitting it up make more sense, because you're going to have more 1 loss or 2 losses in there. There's a competitive balance.
That's a good point, because now you can throw, and Patty Grimes says that Ohio State needs to be in the other division. So Patty, then I would say this: Are you prepared to give up the Michigan-Ohio State game? Are you guys prepared to do that?
Right.
Because there's no guarantee, obviously, that they meet in the Big Ten championship game, because Michigan's only been there once since it started.
So you have half the people saying, well, then you don't have to play through them to get to where they wanted. But it'd be interesting how to break it out. I don't think you could just go, well, here, let's put these teams because they're better this decade, and this team, they're better. How would it all play out? Because there's, more extenuating circumstances. What do I always say? Follow the money.
The answer's money.
The answer's
What's the
always
question?
Money.
No, and that's one of those things where, you have to take a look at that, because low key, I think it's fine just the way it is, because you have basically a bye into the playoff for your Big Ten, East Division champion. Because how do I know that? That's the way it's always been. It's been a smash fest in there every single time.
So I guess it's the whole thing is that my thinking would be the way that the playoff system is and everything with 4 games, that they wouldn't do anything. If something was to change as far as on the bigger picture, to go to 8, to go to 12, well, that brings everything into consideration, but that all throughout college football. So,
because that's a great point, but I hadn't thought about it that way.
And here's the conversation too, right? Where we talk about the Notre Dames and the where does this all fit in? Is this conversation to happen to realign? Is this the conversation that somebody in the back of their mind has a Notre Dame in mind of bringing them in or somewhere, whatever? But you know what? That again, and to your point that we talk about all the time, why would Notre Dame do that when they control all the money? But speaking of money, I'm just going to be honest here. As a dude, we like simple stuff, like football, every day. Not just 5 days, every day. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's haircuts for men. You walk in, you sign in, you sit down, and before you know it, you're handsome and clean. Get the Lady Jane's open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Neal Rule, Darren McCarty, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Be right back.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Listen Monday through Friday for Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network with Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the silky voice of Neal Rule.
Talking college football here. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Rule alongside D-Mac, Darren McCarty in the house. Got some questions coming in on a YouTube chat thread. Was a Snoil OG says, how is the Big Ten not making money if Michigan lost? Isn't Iowa in the Big Ten? All right, I'll break this down for you guys then. So if Iowa beats Michigan, Michigan's not going in the playoff. There's about an $8 to $10 million payoff that just the teams in the playoff get. So Michigan would get that $8 to $10 million. I forget what the exact number is, but that ballpark. They would get that payoff. That goes towards the Big Ten. Because Michigan won, that means Ohio State goes to the Rose Bowl. So Ohio State goes to the Rose Bowl, which is a higher paying bowl than the next one down, which is what, the Outback Bowl, the Citrus Bowl, whatever that next one. You know, that one that they play at 1 o'clock on New Year's Day. Not the Fiesta Bowl this year, but the other one that they play in Tampa. You see where I'm going here? There's, again, that Tetris effect that I talk about. Because Michigan's in the playoff, everybody else goes up. To where if Michigan didn't go to the playoff, they would go down, Ohio State would go down. Who is Kentucky? They're playing Kentucky, right? In the because Michigan State has Pitt in the Peach Bowl, and then I forget what the next one is. I don't know. We're going to be going over the bowls for the next month straight. So whatever it is, there's a domino effect to it. Everybody moves down a bowl, so the payouts get smaller and smaller as you go down. So that's how it costs them money. The Big Ten. This is why the Big Ten championship game's not going anywhere. And I hear people around town saying they just need to get rid of the Big Ten championship game. You don't live in reality when you make that statement. The reason that Michigan, Iowa, and the Big Ten championship game makes money is because Fox pays a premium to televise it. That's why. Big Ten championship game is never going anywhere. Never, ever. Never going anywhere.
Hey,
yeah, the Big Ten championship game's never going away because it's worth a premium to Fox. So the Big Ten gets that. That's why I laugh, too, at the people that say they need to kick Rutgers out of the Big Ten. They'll get rid of Penn State before they get rid of Rutgers, people. And the reason why is, again, I forget the exact number, but it's about $1.30 per cable subscriber to the Big Ten Network. That's what the Big Ten Network charges a company to carry the Big Ten Network. If you're in Rutgers, which means the Big Ten Network is available in New York, in particular New York City, to cable providers, that's about a $7 to $9 million situation for the Big Ten. Rutgers ain't going anywhere. And Maryland, too, in that Washington, D.C. television market. They ain't going anywhere. These are the baselines. So I'm just trying to figure out a way. I guess I'm not trying to figure out a way because they don't need to fix it because it's fine the way it is, D-Mac. It's guaranteed money. Dom Rivera says, well, Neal brings up a good point. I hadn't thought about it that way.
That's what you just brought up, facts and everything like that, and the fact is you got to always follow the money, right? And it's where the Bulls are and stuff like this. That's why the interesting thing that I think is wait until the legitimacy of are they going to move to 8 playoff teams or move to 12, right? We hear that talk, but where does that always go, Neal? It always fizzles out, right? Because at the end of the day, when it comes down to the contracts or whatever else scheduling, right, there's certain teams, right, that call their own shots and make these decisions. It's just the way it is. We're going to talk about the NC. Like, we're talking about, right, a group that eyeball tests and then does an eyeball test, and then will make a decision and is run by an energy guy. So it doesn't make sense, but the only thing that makes sense is follow the money. Right. So as long as the money is being distributed and distributed, right, to these bigger schools and stuff like this, it really hasn't changed or hasn't forced to change.
No.
Right?
There's no need for a change now.
Well, that's the whole thing. You're talking about change just for change without the why. I need to know the why. I mean, it's like anything else. I'd be up for it, but why? How does that make sense? Right? Because here's the thing. Do you know anybody that's going to do something and make this move and lose money?
Nope.
That ain't happening. That ain't happening.
Absolutely
for
not.
the goodness of their heart or whatever. No, that ain't happening.
That ain't happening, my friends. No, and Nick says on here, really doesn't matter if you organize the Big Ten or not. MSU, Michigan, and Ohio State, once in a while, Wisconsin are good regularly. That's about it. Well, I mean, we need to tap the brakes on the Michigan thing. Like, they broke through this year, and credit to them. They did what was necessary. They beat Ohio State, and they deserved to be in the playoff because they did what was in front of them. They did that. But it's Ohio State's playground. This has been an Ohio State problem in the Big Ten. I mean, that's just the way it is, D-Mac. I'm not hating.
Facts.
Yeah.
Right? And we could have seen the beginning of the change.
We could.
Right? But, again, we won't know that until next year.
Right. We won't know that. So, I mean, that's where it is. Tried for a while. 2518 says Tetris 99 on the Switch slaps as well. So my son's about the Switch.
Is he?
Yeah, he likes it. Does it?
Which is great.
Yeah, because my oldest son is Xbox all the way, but my middle son is Switch. Which, unfortunately for me, two different systems, two different games,
two different online
subscriptions.
Yep.
That's the one, Sawyer. That's the very Rutgers in the Big Ten-y, the one that you don't catch right away. Mm-hmm. But once you break it down, it really makes
$60 every year for Xbox, $20 for Nintendo. It adds up.
No doubt, man. They catch you. That is my Rutgers in the Big Ten in the rural household.
You don't have to pay for online for your PC. So I just got the PC and the Switch, and we're good to go.
There you go. And you don't have the latency issues either.
Unless my internet goes out. But
right. You like that? The old guy talk about latency issues.
Oh, yeah. He gets it. He gets it.
Let me see. Trayvon Taylor. Neal, never ever say that again. But then right under that, they say, sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Yeah, so you guys get it.
Never meant to make you pop.
Yeah, you guys get it. Jake Wegener says they also need the championship game because before the game, the Big Ten champions were getting screwed in the rankings by not playing championship weekend. And that's the other thing. You have to play that game. Because if you take it away,
everybody else plays that game.
And if you're out of sight, you are out of mind. Like, that's just the way that it works. And again, just going back to it, that's how it all breaks down. Chuck says the problem is Nebraska has failed in the Big Ten. Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin just haven't carried the West. The East now has 4 different winners with Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, and Michigan. But again, Chuck, I would say that Nebraska's really served a purpose by being bad because that gives you the ability to say when you beat them, say, oh, well, we beat Nebraska. And for some reason, it still carries weight. Even though they're just an also-ran.
Remember how Michigan was waiting to drop that one on Washington this year, but then Washington came out and laid an egg
lost to Montana. Yeah.
Well, that's what Nebraska turned into, and like I said, it's every time you bring Nebraska up, I go back to the beginning of the year, right, talking about Scott Frost and Jim Harbaugh. Yep. And how they just totally went opposite directions.
They were on the same road, and then Harbaugh just got off at the exit, and Scott Frost kept going.
Weren't we asking, is this the same guy?
Right.
It's not.
No.
Hey, guys, it's not. I'm just telling you in case Darren McCarty says they're not the same guy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work to be done in Nebraska. And I don't know, to your question you asked at the beginning, I've been thinking about it for like an hour and 40 minutes. I don't know. I don't know what Nebraska, where they go, what they have, because that's what hurts too, right? When you don't have the powerhouse as with Wisconsin or Nebraska or Iowa or, something to compete, right? To compete, like that's the one thing is the teams that we're always talking about in the other side of the conference were hard to play against, punch you in the mouth sort of, and that's sort of gone away. They're sort of toothless now, which this is why it amplified because one side of the conference is overloaded at this point because what has happened, the other guys on the other side haven't progressed the way they have been.
Right, and Penn State won't be a factor.
Well,
for the intermediate
for
future.
10 years, they just gave James Franklin. They just signed their own fate.
You could cross.
Holy cow, man!
You can cross Penn State.
If he writes a book, I'm reading it. Because how to buffalo your way to millions of dollars.
You know what? And James Franklin, I'll give you this one right here. When you do write a book, you can say "How to Steal Money Without Even Pulling a Gun" by James Franklin because he did it from Penn State.
And over.
Yeah.
No, it's like 3 times.
Yeah, he's not Penn State's not a factor. Show me I'm wrong, James Franklin. Show me I'm wrong. What do you got, Fish?
Well, remember just a few years ago, the Big 12 used to never have a championship game, and they added that, 2014, 15?
And look what happened. Oklahoma started going to the playoff on the regular.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it works, man.
Although they had to be undefeated, though. They were undefeated when they went in, right? They're not letting a one-loss Oklahoma team in?
Yeah, I mean, that's generally been the case. I'd have to go back and look at all the numbers to be sure.
They'll let a one-loss Big 10 team in like they did this season they have in the past. They won't let a one-loss Big 12 team in, though.
No, and they do it with the SEC, and justifiably so, because the results are there every single time they get in there. Lots of video game chatter. George says Xbox all the way. I'm Nintendo and PlayStation. I love my Switch and PC. Was going to get a Switch last year, but bought a piano instead.
That's a small. I was going to bring that up, Jake. That is a great small D-Mac brag. That's a small brag right there. Ooh, you talented. Ooh, you got a piano. Ooh, wow. Because I was just going to work on Tickle the Ivory.
Tell me you're an elitist.
Whoever you guys. Tell me
you're an elitist without telling me you're an elitist. Tell me you got a piano.
Oh, my piano.
Instead of a Switch. First time in 12 years, Snow LG, first time in 12 years, Lion is player of the week, and it's Goff. So Stafford was never player of the week, but Goff is in his 12th game. LOL. Joey says Nintendo games are so good. So Sawyer, you said that your team Switch as well. What's your go-to on the Switch?
Go-to on the Switch, either Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, or Pokemon.
Okay.
I just love the relaxed, running around, hunting down some Pokemon, beating
that's
people
Red
in battles.
Dead Redemption.
Yeah, my middle son is big. He's big
do.
Smash Bros as well.
Oh yeah,
that's how he lives.
Yeah, down at school we would play we had a club Smash team, and I had a roommate who was on the team, so we'd always be playing Smash, and in the fraternity house we'd have Smash tournaments and everything. So I got some good hands in that.
Yeah,
I'll give people some hands.
You goated on the sticks or what?
I'm not bad. My Mario's pretty good. Mewtwo's pretty strong, and then we've been working on Bowser for a little
Nerds.
bit. Yeah, big time nerds.
Hey,
big time
you know
nerds.
what?
I love it.
So Oakland, the Oakland Golden Grizzlies have an esports team. They give scholarships and Smash Bros.
That's huge now.
Yeah,
it's
I just
popping.
found out my high school I went to, Linden High School, took second in Rocket League in the state.
Yeah,
which is car soccer.
Yeah,
Oakland's
sweet.
Oakland's Rocket League team's real big time.
Nice.
I'm the dude that watches people play or highlights or whatever because I suck, but I like to see talented. I'll put on Fortnite or whatever, watch people run around and because I can't do it. I'm a noob. No,
hey, our coach recruits, watches tournaments on Twitch and everything. I mean, it's as real as it gets, man.
Oh yeah, it's blowing up.
It is. There's no question. I just wonder how they continue to monetize it. It works in college. You can give away, because it's not an NCAA sport, you can give away prize money and stuff like that, like bass fishing.
Yeah.
NCAA bass fishing.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world out there, Sawyer.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that was weird, though, at Butler was the Call of Duty team. Every other team was sanctioned by the school, but the Call of Duty team wasn't because it was violence and stuff, even though it was a video game. So there's a bunch of drama with that. But I mean, then you look at the CDL, which is the Call of Duty League, and everybody loves that, and it's blowing up. So I feel like that's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Magnus says Soul Calibur on PS2, run me. Joey says, LOL to piano, Jake. Do you take lessons? He said, no, my girlfriend's a piano player, but I try. Jake, you're classy, man. Hey, we have classy people that watch and listen to. We
Absolutely.
do. We can have that.
No, I look at he's a one-man band right there.
No, he is.
Be afraid to show the talent. You're an entertainer, Mr. Wagner.
Dom Rivera, Smash Bros, you can make some major money. Are they in Rocket League? It's amazing. Yes, so Oakland Golden Grizzlies esports team, they have Rocket League. They're pretty big time in it. And everyone's going down the list. Contra 3 on Super Nintendo. They still have the code?
Up, right, down, left. AABB.
Trayvon Taylor, Neal, you play Madden. If you do, let's get a game in right now, LOL. I would do that. My son has beaten the dignity out of me in that game. So I have to take him. Speaking of the Switch.
I got to take him outside.
Speaking of the Switch, that's when he gets a little too high and mighty about the Madden. That's when I throw in the old Tecmo Bowl. And old Pops. And old Pops keeps it real in the streets.
And how much do they bitch and moan
they
about
hate
the
it.
graphics,
They
about
hate
the
it. It's
gameplay?
you can barely see the players and stuff like that. I said, you know what? This is the truest test of video game football there is. There's a 4-play playbook, son.
Absolutely.
Daddy, why is this pixelated?
You can't just run a slant
Is
every
this for
single
the late
time.
1900s?
Yeah, you just can't run a slant every time and it works, and just can't do a dive all the time and it works, and it can't be stopped like it is in Madden. Madden's trash. Madden's a trash football reproduction.
Whipping out Madden.
Trash. No, stack up the
Madden's
football
sucks.
gameplay.
Madden's horrible.
Yeah.
That is the worst game. It's just carbon copy,
college is
reprint every
better.
single time. They never change anything. It's just a money grab.
Yeah.
That's all
Rest on
Madden
laurels,
is.
like WWE.
If you want a football recreation,
Madden and WWE.
if you want a
Probably owned by the
football
same thing.
recreation,
EA Sports.
Tecmo Bowl is so much greater than Madden.
Tecmo Bowl.
I'll fight anybody on
He'll
this.
fight Blades of Steel, too, back in the day.
Come down to the studio
Blades of Steel.
and we can fight about it.
I think we can all agree NHL 94.
NHL
on Sega.
Hits. NHL Hits
That's
was a
a
great
good one.
game.
It was the NBA Jam of hockey.
NFL Hits too. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, we agree with you, Neal. Run and bow with the diagonal run. Neal speaking facts right now. Madden is garbage. Hey, I'm a man of the people. I just am. We're going to take a break. Speaking of realignment and everything like that, we got to get... If Maz is in the building, I want him out here, too, because I keep seeing this, too, about... We talked about the Big Ten thing, so everybody brings up Notre Dame. It's never going to happen. We'll discuss when we come back. This is Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Back at it here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. We're coming down the stretch. YouTube comment thread exploding with video game talk, as I knew that it was. Canuck Duke, NHL 94 is a classic. Charles Grimmett's my guy. I think I struck a chord with the people that are around our age, too, that are watching. Charles Grimmett says, Tecmo, show your young fellow what's up. NHL 94, all-time great. And, yeah, you know, I was very capable in NHL 94. I will say
Make
it like
Gretzky
that.
bleed. Haha, me and Ozzy, Mike Castleman, and Adirondack. We used to play that all hours of the night. We even had we spit sunflower seeds into the Gatorade bottles and we tape them up, and then we'd write in who'd win that night and stuff like this, dude. I used to play Chicago. Ozzy played Vancouver, and Cass played Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I had Roenick.
I was a low key. I used Hartford. I used the Hartford Whalers a lot. Robert Cron was my guy.
Wow, dude, the names.
That's deep. That's deep,
and
right
it just,
there.
by the way, I cover this in the Darren McCarty show, the Slapstick Comedy Tour. But the difference between a media guide and the rankings in a video game, media guide is BS. It's by somebody human. It's a human being, works for the team. It's like Playboy for adults. Whereas the ratings in a video game, that's the true testament. And you know what? The more cups you win, the more props. So,
the higher
I'm
that.
still in the grit. I got in the grit this year, 2022.
Yeah, absolutely. NHL Hits was God tier. NHL 94, greatest sports video game ever, as we were talking about that. NHL Hits 2003 with Pronger on the cover was straight fire. Now, I love it, though. I do like bringing this discussion back every now and then and welcoming here into the Big D Energy studio.
Really, we're welcoming?
I always welcome Maz in. Tom's a great dude, man. Tom Mazaway is here in studio. And Maz,
thanks, guys.
We saved this topic, and I did want to get you in here to talk about
the
it.
'86 Mets?
No, we covered the '86 '86 Mets. Did they win a lot of games and do a lot of coke, Maz?
They did.
They did, as a matter of fact.
Boy, I love that team.
Tom Mazaway here from the Bottom Line, 2 to 4 on
living in
Woodward
the
Sports
past.
Network. But, Maz, I did want to touch on this because this whole thing, and everyone's been talking about Big Ten realignment, right? That's the hot topic today, that they need to do it. You had your own flavor on it, where you said just offer a spot to Notre Dame already.
Yeah.
Maz, you understand that's never going to happen, right?
Well, did you see the caveat I gave you? See how I used the Darrenism?
Yeah.
The caveat is, hey, Notre Dame, you could be the king of the Big Ten West. In other words, you will make the Big Ten championship game every single year. Come on over. Here's your chance to get in the playoff without a question. Every year. What's wrong with that? They belong in the Big Ten.
Here's what's wrong with that. Notre Dame has its home games broadcast on NBC since 1991. The current deal, which runs through 2025, pays the school $15 million a year. They don't share.
See all the money coming out of the window I just opened up here because the draft went in of
$15
why
million, okay.
They don't share a dime of it. They get it all.
Ask Maz if he followed the money
How
yet.
much
did
do
you
they
follow
get?
the money yet?
How much do they get when they don't make the playoff?
When they don't make the playoff, whatever their payout is for a bowl, the same as everybody else. And when they do, when they do make the playoff, which they have done in the past.
Yeah, they made it.
Twice. Yeah, they made it twice. Guess who they didn't? Guess who they didn't have to share the money with?
I get it.
Anyone else?
I'm going to guess. This is just a guess. All right, I'm going to put all my math skills together. But I'm going to figure out that the money that they would get by making Tom's change, right, with all the glory of winning the Big Ten West every year and all that stuff, and to the money that they're making now and whatever else, doesn't even compare. So I think that if you looked at your money situation and it was close, that your theory, as always, Tom, isn't wrong, right? The fact of why you want to pound it to there by won't happen because you run into the money because they can't control it. But hypothetically, that would be great for football as a fan, right? As a fan. But it won't happen because the money's too out of whack. They control all their money the way it is. And until that's figured out, if you can figure that out, right?
Yeah.
Then you might have a conversation.
That's above my pay grade. And then Neil.
Whoa, wait a sec. Says the guy who knows more hockey than me.
Neil's got the number. Neil's got the numbers in front of him. How long is that deal good till?
Through 2025.
Okay.
And they don't get renegotiated for less money ever.
But let's talk then, because maybe things are different in 2025 when the conferences are north.
You know what, Tom?
They're never going to touch those
I'm
numbers.
going to accept that.
And west.
I'm going to accept that 2025.
Yeah.
So we got 2023. We got 34, 2025. We can see if the temperature is different. I think I can offer you that. I don't know if my friend Neil will offer you that.
It's never
not
happening,
going to change.
Maz.
But
Maz.
I will see what's out. 4 years from now, 3.5 years,
Neil,
please bring the conversation.
If I told you years ago that Notre Dame would have their own network, that the SEC would have their own network, the Big Ten would have their, you would have laughed at me because we only used to get 2 games a week.
Right.
And what do you think is going to happen 4 years from now? You think it's going to look like this? No. The playoffs not going to be 4 anymore. It's going to be 12, 16, 30,
which only
the hell
increases Notre Dame's chances of getting in, and they still get to control all their money.
Okay.
And Maz, you know what else it does too, and this is low key, is they have full control over their schedule. They want to schedule a game against Boston College in Ireland. They can do that. Guess who's taking?
Love Ireland.
Guess who's taking most of that gate, Maz?
Yes, there's no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? They don't have to work in anybody else's constraints. They'll never change. As Mike G says in our YouTube chat thread, right now, Maz, touchdown Jesus is wearing Gucci sandals.
Yeah, it's good. Good one, Mikey.
Dude,
not a question about it.
Let me ask you.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
No,
I just wish. I always say this to the Notre Dame: pick a side. That's all.
They do.
But
the
why?
money
They
side.
don't have to.
They pick themselves.
Why, when you got the best of both worlds? That's just like saying, hey, you got to choose between the blonde and the brunette. And I go, yeah, but I live in Utah. No, I don't. Right? You know what I'm saying? You want both to everything. Now, here's the perfect.
What's wrong with a redhead?
They put them. There you go. That's all. Exactly. I didn't know if they had any in Utah. I haven't been there in a while. But the whole thing is that they put themselves in this position to control their own destiny. They got the keys. They got all this. I think that when they go to 8 to 12, that this conversation which is always the NCAA. I got them knocking every year at Notre Dame's door going, hey, guys, we're over here. And then they're going, boom, slam.
They're saying, we're not home. We're at the bank right now putting another check in.
We're never going to be here unless, and if it comes up that there's conversation for this, you know why? It's because the bag, as we say, has more money in it than it does now.
Right. Chuck Brewer says Big Ten schools make $22 million per year. That's based on all sports, the all sports contribution to the Big Ten network. The Notre Dame television contract with NBC, that's just football. That doesn't count the share through NCAA basketball and all the other sports, the branding, everything, all of it. So
I bet you it's not as big of a discrepancy as you think it is.
I bet it is because they won't join a conference.
But they haven't yet. Let's see it 2025, all right?
That's fair, man.
Right.
We can come. What do you guys got coming up on the bottom line today?
The bottom line is we've got a little basketball because we wanted to switch it up on a Wednesday. Pistons not looking too good, and the reason that we're bringing them up is Dwayne Casey. Is he the guy? Do we like Dwayne Casey? Yeah, former NBA Coach of the Year with the Raptors. Who couldn't he beat? He couldn't beat LeBron, so they got rid of him. We weren't good enough to get him. I know they stripped this thing down like Troy Weaver has stripped this thing down like Brad Holmes has stripped the Lions down. But we want to talk a little bit about that. Rod Beard will join us. I want to talk more about the NBA as well. I mean, my man Steph Curry is on a mission, right? He's closing in on Ray Allen's three-point shooting record. He is the greatest basketball player in my mind of all time. And I know Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan and LeBron James is LeBron James. My favorite of all time is Steph Curry.
That's interesting. I mean, you can make the case because I always say Wilt Chamberlain got shortchanged.
Phenomenal.
Because he changed the game. Steph Curry, I think it's comparable to what Wilt Chamberlain did to basketball, what Steph Curry's done with basketball.
Yeah,
he's changed the entire identity of it.
And you'll be shocked, but we're going to talk a little bit about Michigan football as well. I got a surprise.
I've been talking about it.
I got a surprise guest coming up today, so we got some things brewing.
As Joy Bell would say, tap in 2 to 4.
Tap in and game.
Close enough. Matt, appreciate you, man. You know, we know we love you.
Game, Dan. He knows that.
All right. You know we love you, Matt. Appreciate you sliding through, man. We'll be right back.
Notre Dame, pick a side.
Pick a side.
Tom Mazaway, sponsored today by Guardian Alarm, because Guardian Alarm gets it, and with takes like that, they need to protect our good buddy Tom Mazaway. Good defense on and off the field helps you feel secure. Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe, all with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that let you check in on your home, control your lights and temperatures, detect smoke or that deadly killer carbon monoxide. It will even let you lock and unlock your house right from this item here. But in order to get with the Big D Energy Woodward Sports Network family, you're going to have to call. Put the fingers to the buttons. 1-800
Stay out.
That's 1-800
Stay out. Notre Dame uses that number.
Get out.
Get out of the Big Ten.
Hey, you know what? I love the family environment. Can we please hit this synchronized? Get it for everybody in the roast in the back, in Lady Jane's. 1-800
Stay out. Get away from my house in Big Ten and Notre Dame and whatever else.
Yeah, get away from the said. Guardian Alarm has been trusted for over 90 years at keeping families safe. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts. Neil Brule, D. Max Sawyer, Fish, and Uncle Tommy leaving the room. Woodward Sports Network.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device. The energy and D-Mac, one of the greatest goals I ever have seen last night.
If you haven't seen it, Anaheim playing in Buffalo behind the net. Now we've seen Mike Legg, former Michigan guy, pick the puck up with his stick and wrap it around and put it in lacrosse style. Well, last night they one-upped it. They flipped it for behind the net. Guy got position, and not only is that such a sick little fillet flip pass, but the hand-eye to put it in the net by Milano, former Little Caesars kid out of Detroit, Sal Milano. So he
I was waiting for the refs to call that off to a high stick.
But you see how he waited for it?
Yeah. To come down under the bar. I was still waiting for the refs to call that a high stick. I would have exploded.
Oh, no, exactly. But it goes to show the IQ, and it goes to show you these guys have worked on stuff like this. This is stuff you do after practice. That reminded me right there of Datsuk and Zetterberg or whatever. And you always have to pay attention. I think that you see that. You look at the face in the corner, which is, they know it too. It's there on the bench. There's their face going, hey, can you believe that? Because I haven't seen it before. And there for everybody watching at home, a little bit of a hug. And can you believe that? But that's going to be on the highlight reels for a long time. And you know what, Neil, if I was a betting man, I don't think that'll be the first time that's tried.
Yeah, cleaning up some comments here on the whole Notre Dame thing. Chuck Brewer says it's not a money issue, it's a control issue. And that we do agree on, Chuck, because control to some people is worth more than money. But for Notre Dame, I think it's both. It is a money and it's a control issue. And they get to be, they're the ones that buy a piano instead of a Switch.
Yeah, Jake. But if you can.
Some other people were talking Notre Dame would not just walk all over the Big Ten West. And then A100 says Notre Dame 41, Wisconsin 13, neutral field. So that did happen.
Yeah.
It did.
Facts.
It did. And Notre Dame's fine. They get to the playoff anyway. See, the other thing for Notre Dame is...
You know what it is? It's being able to... It's the both thing about the power and the money. So it's controlling your sort of narrative as much as you can without sacrificing the dollar in the long run, right? Right? They're in a perfect situation, which they started how long ago, right? Where they're the team that can make, because they have the television contract, right? And you said to 2025, a lot can change since then. I think Maz, having a conversation with Maz was actually one of the more normal conversations of...
Well, in his soul, he knows.
Well, that's the whole thing, right?
Knows.
I think we all know, but we also all know, too, when they change the format of the playoff system, that also puts a conversation into, is there more control elsewhere, right? Because my question is, I don't need to know the right or wrong, I need to know the why, is that if Notre Dame does this, why do they do it, right? It'll be control, it'll be money. Those two will be at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of love for Tony Hawk Pro Skater in the Sawyer's got that. Sawyer's got that look on his face, like when I hear the NFL draft drop. You're feeling that one, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I'm the one who started that in the chat.
Oh,
I just
did
had
you?
Tony Hawk Pro Skater with a bunch of fire under it. They remastered it too, so I got it on the PC now. It's great.
Sawyer, my guy, man. I love that cat. Bottom line, dude, I love Sawyer. Big facts, dude. That guy's a lot of fun. Dave Schultz brings up a good point too, because they have that exclusive contract with NBC. NBC shows no other college football than Notre Dame football, and that's a big draw too, man. And we'll never know the impact that has on merchandise sales. Like there's a yin to the yang on that. That's related.
No, it always is. So there's merchandise. It's that's a huge thing too, because when NBC has put all their eggs into one basket also, then they're gonna try to make them look the best. So like I said, the interesting thing is, because all the streaming services and because we're going away from the NBCs, the ABCs that we're used to watching, must see, you have to watch it this way. There's other ways to view things. So again, I think this conversation, because the environment's going to change around it. That's why the conversation will change.
Absolutely. People asking about Puckin Around. D-Mac, how can they watch Puckin Around?
All you have to do is, in about 2 minutes, stick around. We got a nice quarter, I'm calling it quarter century mark. Going to go back and watch some highlights of some of the games earlier in the year,
break down the growth,
break down some of the growth, what we're looking for and what we look for moving forward. Again, the biggest thing with this Red Wing team is battling consistency. And I like the way that their coach addressed it last night. And every team, it's all about foundation and levels. So
Rack says, just like the Block M, Notre Dame is just as much a business. That's a great point by Rack. They are one and the same. College basketball last night, Michigan destroyed Nebraska 102-67. The Golden Grizzlies did lose at Bowling Green 73-72. It was a heartbreaker, folks. Oakland had the ball inbounding underneath the basket. With 1 second left, an opportunity to get the win. Ran a great play, got the ball into Trey Townsend, who went to Oxford High School, and he couldn't get the layup to go. Really heartbreaking for that guy. Obviously he knows a lot of people that were affected by what happened at Oxford High School. As a matter of fact, did a video for one of the funeral services yesterday. So, it's not life's not always a fairy tale, guys. I mean, that's the bottom line of it. So, really would have liked to seen him get that, try to help cope with that week. But,
hey, remember you're not alone, and we go through this this journey together. So, thoughts and prayers with everybody out there struggling.
For sure. No doubt about it. Pucking Around with D-Mac coming up next. Appreciate all you guys interacting, jumping in the conversation, Sawyer and Fish as well. This has been Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. Well, see you later.
It's that time of the year again. Time for our second annual Stuff a Studio with Woodward Sports. Last year, Metro Detroit came together to help make the largest single toy donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. This year, we make it even bigger. Stuff a Studio is happening December 13th through the 17th at the Woodward Sports Studios in Birmingham. The children in Mott Children's Hospital fight so hard all year. Now it's up to all of us to help bring a smile to their faces. So while you're out holiday shopping, make sure you pick up an extra toy or two and help us spread some love to Metro Detroit this season. We look forward to seeing you December 13th through the 17th as we stuff our studio with Woodward Sports and Myre.
Woodward Sports Network, let's go! Ho, 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 ho.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
It's now time for Pucking Around with four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty.
Takes a shot, McCarty! Darren McCarty has tied the game! He sure has.
Exclusively on the Woodward Sports Network. We are Detroit Sports.
What's up, sports fans? Darren McCarty, four-time Stanley Cup champion here, Woodward Sports Network. Time for this week's Pucking Around, and I thought it would be apropos because we are a quarter of the way through the season. Let's take a look back and look at some of the things that we liked and what we can look forward to moving in to the second quarter part of the season. Let's roll it, Sawyer. We're going to take it right back to the first game of the season against the Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. What you see here is what this team has to do continuously, no matter on the road or at home, and it's driving the net. It's using their skating ability. The biggest difference to the team this year compared to the team last year is their speed in all facets of the game. We like to say that they can skate with anybody in this league. As you see Tyler Bertuzzi right here show you that he's just not another pretty face with some great flow. He's also got some of the moves. Now, what have we seen from Tyler Bertuzzi, right? Last year only playing 5 games and actually having a pretty good season for only those 5 games. He is the spark plug of this team. I said it all along. Goes to the hard areas. Sort of the engine that makes these things work. What we're looking right here is when the power play is effective, how the guys use it to attack, bing, bang, boom through the zones. These are the positive things that can be used. Also, to what we've seen, can't talk enough about the goaltending. Alex Nedeljkovic and Thomas Greiss, as we've seen the struggle, Nedeljkovic a little bit getting his feet set in exhibition season early in the year, but he has been outstanding. Just look up Alex Nedeljkovic in the Googler, and you will see at least 5 or 6 highlight reel films. Why is this important? Because with a young team, what Steve Heisman has done, he's done the same thing as what he's done in Tampa. Build it, goaltender on out. Now, in today's NHL, you need a guy that we've seen. If you're going to ask me, quarter pole, Nedeljkovic would be your number one as he's looked to and how he's being played. But Thomas Greiss is just as important piece. What you're watching here is the good things that I've seen this year on the power play. How many times have you heard me say consistent, inconsistent, whatever else? Well, that's them all throughout the game. Pie Suter, another great acquisition. Somebody that's come over, bet on themselves from Chicago, doing all the sort of little things here. I think that, those are little mistakes that are going to happen, but the one thing is guys work really hard. This is the shift where they all go down and block a million shots, and I can't watch this enough without the commitment. There's 2 by Fabry. There's 1 by Nedeljkovic. There's another one. Guys, look where the 5 guys are. 5 guys below the hash marks. That's called commitment right there. Now, you don't like to see guys sliding around. Poor Danny DeKaiser broke his stick, but then goalie stands there in the back. And if you were at the game, and I've broken it down before, that's what this team is. It's all about hunger. It's all about effort. Right here, too, the game in that if there was the most disappointing game, and I put this on here early in the season, even though Dylan scored, was this overtime loss in Phoenix. Why? Phoenix is a team that struggled. You have to get your points when you want them, but they battled, and they could have been a worse road record right there, but they ended up getting a point here. But again, when they're moving around, attacking the net, they can be a team to reckon with. But what can you say? Again, more saves by Nedeljkovic and Greiss, who right now early on, obviously with the play of Lucas Raymond and Mo Sider, but you got to look back to the defense. And these are just some of the plays that I thought that you're stealing a point. This is called stealing a point on the road. Now, why is this so important? Because coming back home, and when they played, they were able to get a 5-game winning streak going. Here you see them on the road in Chicago, saves like this, and we know that DeBrincat didn't hit all that, but goalies, they practice that stuff. They never quit, and that's what I like about the effort there. Here we go into the game, driving the net, guys at the net, 4th line guys, showing that you got to get scoring up and down the roster, but making sure they find a way to win. And the one thing about this last homestand that we saw them win 5 games in a row, and then before they lost to Nashville the other night, is the fact that they're winning games that maybe last year they wouldn't have or shouldn't have won. So showing you that guys going to the net, doing the little things. I like when I see 48 Giovanni Smith get involved, whether in the score sheet, making solid plays, or in the penalty box, which he was. But there's, again, what can you say? Lucas Raymond, that's a sniper. I think what you see here last night's unfortunate that, a couple giveaways. That's just sloppy play. Shorthanded, stuff like that, things that you can't do. That the consistency that they're going to be fighting with. So it's unfortunate. You're not going to win every game in the NHL, but I can definitely say as a quarter pole through the NHL season 2021-2022, they're an exciting team to watch, and they'll continue to be that way. Now, they're going to be frustrating. They're going to continue to be. But this is a team that should be in the conversation to make the playoffs. If they can get the road wins going, and then they can take care of their points at home. But, wow, is this team not a fun team to watch or what? So, this is this week's Puckin' Around. So far, I'm going to give the Detroit Red Wings a B+ on their first quarter of the season. B+ from DMAC. Way to go, boys. Keep her going. That's Puckin' Around for this Wednesday. We'll catch you every day, 11 to 1. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network.